Let's give me here. Who else would it be? This is the Bitcoin brief for April 22nd. Hope you've had a good day, good week overall with the Easter and Resurrection Sunday is what I refer to it as. I hope you've enjoyed your weekend. I kind of took the weekend off for a few different reasons. One, to celebrate the weekend, but also I just kind of needed a breather. I think I was getting a little overwhelmed with a lot of the videos. I've been doing a lot of new things and some family things like that. So it was good to get that kind of relaxed weekend. The markets responded pretty well, so we're going to talk about this. So there's a few different things going to go on. I've got about 3 to 4 videos coming up in the next 24 hours. The first one here is this one, the Bitcoin brief. The second one is going to be the mini market plus video. That is a Apex Premium only video. That's a private video. If you are not subscribed to the group, you can go ahead and check the link in the description. I'm going to leave it there. I'm also trying to transfer everything to Patreon as well, so go ahead and look forward to that. The third one's going to be observations with O2. That's going to be my weekly video. I'm going to record this. I'm going to record this one first. Then I'm recording the private video. Then I'm recording observations with Otsu. So I got 3 videos in a row, and then I also have another video I think coming up talking about token burns. I saw I think it was Mantra or some project that nobody really cares about, honestly, in my opinion, that are doing token burns, and I wanted to kind of cover that because despite the fact I don't care about that project, I think there's a big misconception about token burns, and I think the main issue is some people think that that's bullish and some people think that that's bearish. And so I kind of want to look at some data and kind of present that. So I think it's kind of a fun video. But anyway, that's beside the point. Those are the 4 videos I got lined up. This one, of course, is Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. Most of the time, I'm going to focus on Bitcoin here, but let's get started. First of all, cover the weekly just briefly. I'll do it much more in observations with Otsu, but we actually tagged the lower level of this band here. We're still in a bearish band on the weekly. The gap's pretty wide, 85 to 7%, so that's pretty good for the bulls. Again, because the lower the line, which is the bullish line, the wider the gap and the lower the line, the higher the momentum is taken away from the trend. And so the bearish trend is the highest trend, right? So the bears are still trending, and you can see because the high from basically the entire high of the Bitcoin chart was still from December, right? So we're still relatively new into that. We're still in that downtrend, but bulls have definitely taken momentum from that, and the gap's pretty wide. So that's what you need to know on the weekly. But on the daily, we had a pretty good run up here. Actually, on the 3-day, we had a bullish divergence. Actually, more so a double bottom, but this was a divergence. It played out. We're at the 50 marker on the 3-day, so that's very good. Typically, when we get above 50, that tends to be a good thing. Not always, but in this case, this is, in my opinion, should be something that's well received because of the first time we've done that since February. So we're doing okay. ARUN on the daily has flipped bullish, really for only the 4th time this year. So the blue indicates the bullish run. So there's 1, 2, and 3, and then 4. Okay, and so I guess maybe 5 technically. So it doesn't happen super often, and so I should say I guess it happens about once a month. So I guess it happens okay enough. So anyway, what I wanted to look at here. Now, there's a few different things. Based off the band here, it's actually pushed above the band. That's pretty good. Now, this is kind of squeezing here, and what that tells me is that we are probably going to get a retrace in the next few days. Going to the top of the band here, again, it's about 84.8. It was, I think when I posted about this on my X account previously, it was like 84.5. Now, it's going to continue to go higher the more that Bitcoin goes higher. So, our side's doing pretty good. Nothing really to report. And so it's one of these things where the levels, that people have really looked at, and this leads to some confusion, is that here is the level that was marked out. I consider this close enough to be retested, actually a little bit higher than that too. And a lot of people don't find that sufficient. And this is what happens when you get into a drop down. We tend to look at targets more seriously on the downtrend, and so we'll see how that goes. I'm satisfied with this. I think that we have bottomed. I really do. And so, I mean, like 95% chance, I should say. And so I'm fine with that. because it's not because I wanted to, or like you should trust me, nothing like that. It's one of these things where like it has satisfied the majority of the things that I look for a bottom or a bounce. And two, the trend is starting to favor this as well. So when Aaron starts to go bullish on the daily, now I'm looking for the bullish trend. Like the bulls are trending on the daily Aaron. Okay, and so that's, Aaron is my thing. It's not necessarily my thing. It's an open source indicator for everybody that can use. I learned an advanced way to use it. It's telling me that the things are bullish right now, and I'm leading with that. Okay, and that's how that's working for me. Now, as far as levels go, there's a lot of different variations, but I think the biggest one is going to be this level right here. Okay, based off this order block, the top to bottom level here is how this is going to play out. The top side is going to be about 90,009, so about 91,000. That's going to be your confirmed bullish momentum, I think. Okay, right now we're tagging the mid of this, so I think that we could reject here. I think this might actually be close to the high for today already, so we'll see how that goes. But the flip of this 91,000 marker is the level that I'm looking for. Okay, and so again, I think that we'll reject down to about 84, upper 84s, like 84.7, 84.8, and then we'll bounce from there. So I still think this looks pretty good, despite the fact that I think we're going to go down for the next couple of days. And so you're already having a divergence here at the 4 hour. You had a good push, I guess a consolidation to push up to tap the highs. Okay, here's your high level based off the swing high order block. We rejected so far, and we haven't rejected this necessarily, but we kind of tapped into that and it pushed back. So waiting for that official rejection. Your rejection level is going to be half of this order block right here, which is going to be about 87,364. Or 360, I should say. So if we go below 87.3, let's say, that's usually a sign that we're going to reject back down to that 84. So that's pretty much Bitcoin in a nutshell. I'll reserve like Bitcoin dominance and the total market cap for observations with Otsu. So if you're into that stuff, I'm starting to make observations with Otsu more comprehensive with weekly pairings, market dominance, total market cap 1, 2, 3, things like that. So, and then I might sprinkle in DXY or something like that. But we're starting to get a parabolic run here on the dominance chart. Okay, and here's your trend line resistance to the upside. Here's your parabolic run. So that's working pretty good. Okay, we did have some divergence here, but I think that's kind of invalidated already. So looking to tap into 65. Okay, and I mentioned this before. The higher this goes, the better this is going to be for altcoin season. It's just a matter of when this ends up failing, or not necessarily failing, but rejecting to the lows. You got to understand that just because the Bitcoin dominance goes down doesn't mean that it's a failure necessarily. It doesn't mean it's bearish, okay? You can't view dominance like that. So anyway, that is the Bitcoin dominance chart. But here's a position that I've been looking at here. This is a position that I've been posting publicly, and we have this consolidation at this level, some not necessarily mid time, but not high time frame resistance, kind of like 12-hour resistance, pushing above that. Now we're heading towards this 91 area that I'm looking at. So this is pretty good so far. We got roughly about 1 hour into this. It was about or 0.7 with about 6.5 on the run. So not doing too bad here. So we'll see where that goes. Let's go to Ethereum. This is something that I looked at from the midline on the weekly here. Still holding, not as well as I would prefer. That's not a good look for the current weekly, but it's pretty early in the week. This is really a matter of can this hold this level here. So you got level inside a level inside a level. It's holding the mid. It's all we need to know right now. RSI is kind of failing. We had a bullish cross, but it's a very low one here at about 19%. So pretty weak on that front. Bulls need to step up, basically. So it doesn't look too bad, but it's not looking great. And honestly, it really, I feel like it needs to get bullish for a real alt season to happen. So let's go ahead and go to Solana here. Doing pretty good on the weekly as well. I mentioned that this deviation is a pretty strong point, and I say this all the time. It happens all the time, and I don't get a lot of reactions about this. Even though it works most of the time. but we had a good bullish run yesterday, kind of pushing up against that zone, looking pretty good. And so on the daily here, again, you have the same wedge formation. Probably going to get tapped down to about 138 or 131, I should say. Our side, everything looks pretty good here. Your level to look out for is this, really this section, and then marking it over to the top here. And so the break would be about 147.8 or just 148 if you want to round that up. That's going to be where you're going to probably get some acceleration, and you're probably going to fill this big candle right here. The top side is going to be at 178, and I think maybe I mentioned this, maybe I didn't, but I think if we get above 148 or 149, let's say, or even 150, don't be surprised if you wake up and Solana's just $200. I think it's going to accelerate faster than people think, and so we'll see how that goes. I think that Solana will get to all-time highs before Bitcoin does. We'll see how it goes. But I think Solana has been much more performative, a lot more than people give it credit for. So anyway, that is the Bitcoin brief. I hope you've enjoyed this. Premium members, you have a video coming up next. If you are not a premium member, feel free to join. And then, of course, like, subscribe. I got observations with Otsu coming up next. I'll see you next time. Thank you.